All right, I think we're live. We're live on my end. There's a delay on YouTube. So anyway, I think we're live. Welcome everybody. Happy Saturday night, August 26th, 2023. It's 9:40 p.m. Hope you're all doing well. Hope y'all had a wonderful Saturday. I did. Hung out and did some stuff. Can't remember. Still a little bit of stuff here and there. I'm finishing up my project where I cleared a lot of trees next to my pole barn, and looks amazing. So I'm going to finish it tomorrow. Anyway, so I'm just doing chores and kind of just doing some summer stuff outside that just to make everything look good. There's too many overgrown trees, and I've got 5 acres, but so I'm not worried about cutting trees down in my yard. I've got lots of trees. But so anyway, I don't need more trees, that's for sure. And I've been here 5 years already, and I didn't realize that had all grown into trees. It's kind of like that when I got here, but it turned into like a little forest. So anyway, it's crazy up here how fast woods can grow. I didn't cut one part for a year, and it was filled with little trees already. So anyway, I'm having a lot of fun in the summer so far. I love being outside. But I came in, and boy, is it getting dark early now. Sunset's at 8 o'clock. I mean, the dogs went into town. Dang, it was almost dark when I got back. It's crazy. Already probably hour and 15 minutes, hour and 20 minutes less than 2 months ago. But anyway, I guess we are rolling into fall. I've already seen a few trees turning bright red. I think they're maple trees down right at the end of the road. It is pretty. It turns so many beautiful colors of trees around here. And it's just like a picture perfect, beautiful. Starts in Duluth and works its way down here, and then a couple weeks later, it'll be in the Twin Cities down there. They'll be changing. You know why it's doing it early? Because we're having some cold nights. Today it was only in the 60s. I'm thinking, dang, it's cold. I had to get a jacket. I was going to go work outside. It was only 63 degrees today. I don't know what it got up to. But yeah, it was in the low 60s. Dang, the other day they had a heat advisory not to overheat at the fair. Now we topped off in the low 60s. Let me see what it was. But anyway, just a quick, that's a huge change. Oh, we topped out at 67. It's 55 degrees right now. It's only 55. Yeah, it only got up to 67. But yeah, for most of the day it was in the low 60s. Which is good. Great for working outside. I'm not complaining. So, but yeah, we're dipping down in the 40s at night. So that's why the trees are turning colors already. That's what turns the leaves colors, is the cold temperature at night. So anyway, can't complain. I had a pretty awesome summer. I have tons of stuff coming in my garden. I've done a lot of canning. Got a lot of projects done. Just doing pretty good, so I can't complain. I'll be sad to see it end every year. Every year I'm sad to see the summer end, but just start planning for next year. Anyway, did you see the title? It says 10 strange gods and goddesses, and you know what? They are strange. Actually, I could do one about the top 100 strange gods and goddesses, because there's definitely more than 10. There's a lot of strange gods and goddesses. In fact, most of them are strange now that I think of it. But there's some that are really bizarre and weird. We'll talk about 10 of those tonight anyway. Like it says, it's you could definitely do a lot more than 10 as far as bizarre. Anyway, so that's the plan, Stan. That's for tonight. I'm going to go to Strange Gods. Tomorrow is Sunday. We don't usually do too much on Sunday night because Sunday is dead. It's the quietest night of the week. And barely usually have anybody. So I don't know. Usually I just do a little open chat. But I will be what are we doing? So Monday we're just going to continue our series that we've been doing. Anyway, so I hope you're all doing well. I'm going to get into these 10 strange gods and goddesses. I almost put the top 10, but it's can't really even do the top 10 because there's too many to choose from. So, but we're going to do 10 of them. Let me see, pull this up real quick. Shut that. But anyway, then Monday, of course, Monday through Thursday, we do the whatever we're studying on, and that would be week 2 of doublets, repeat stories in the Old Testament, specifically in the Torah, the first 5 books. So we're going to continue with that, and that'll be week 2 of that. I'm not sure how many of them I'm going to do. There's like 31 of them recorded. I'm just going to do like well, some of them are real short. I guess that, well, but not short to cover, you know what I mean? So, and not maybe as interesting. So I probably will be doing one more week of doublets. Pretty sure. Anyway. So let's get started on 10 weird gods and goddesses. And these are, well, it says a look at 10 of the weirdest deities from religions past and present. But I would think anyway, so this isn't like the weird Greek gods or weird Roman gods. You know what I mean? I mean Greek Roman or like specifically Egyptian gods or Olympian gods. This is just 10 of the strange, I can't even say strangest. They say the weirdest deities. Right there. Bizarre gods and goddesses. All right, bizarre gods and goddesses. I'll look at the 10 of the weirdest deities from legends past and present. I'm just trying to focus this in here. I may have to get a book to prop it up. All right. My parallel Bible, that's a big one. I'll get it all the way up to like there. You know what's kind of weird? I was looking into these weird gods. Speaking of weird, I was looking into these gods and goddesses, these weird ones. And I don't know, I didn't look through all the 10 of them on here. I just I looked and they are but anyway, I can't remember if it's on here, and I can't but there is a god of goddess, a female goddess, and her name is Hel. Yeah, literally Hel. That's her name. And I don't think she's on this list tonight, but but she was like in charge of like the dead and stuff, or and I don't even know, maybe hell or something. But anyway, so that's where the term "go to hell" means, not like go to hell, but so back then, like we think of go to hell, like go to hell, like go burn in hell or something like that. But back then, if you said go to hell, it would mean go die, because hell means death back then. This is ancient, probably before the Roman pagan. Hell is I think it was in Greek mythology with Pan, the hoof deity with the hoofs and the horns. And I would argue up until a couple years ago about hell, and it's real and all that, but nah, that is actually it's a fairly new. It's probably right now. It's probably what's it 2020? Probably 2002 or 300 years old, like 2,300 years old. Probably 300 years before the turn of the century. I mean the beginning of the first century, which would be 1 AD. So you could say the time Jesus walked the earth, and the time he's recorded to have walked the earth. About 300 years before that is when, maybe 200 years. That's when they invented hell. That's why there's nothing about it in the Old Testament. It was a fairly new invention. And they used Pan, the hoofed goat god. So he's got horns, he's got a tail, and he's got horse hoofs. Well, goat hoofs, technically, I guess. So that is your goat god, and that is Pan, and he's the devil. So anyway, so if you're worried about somebody burning in hell, I wouldn't worry about that, because it is a myth. It's mythology, which God put into the New Testament. Very much so. Why? Because the Bible is written in Rome by imagine people who were into Roman mythology, Greek mythology, and anyway. So that's what we're going to do tonight. Is the 10 bizarre, like I said, I can't even say the most. I don't know if there is a if they were in like a contest, I don't know, it'd be hard to pick the first top 10. But anyway, here's 10 of them. So shall we go over here to Owlcation? We've been on this site before. Can't remember what for. It has to do something with the Greek gods or something. No, Olympian gods. 10 weird and funny gods and goddesses. You know what? I can put the link to this in the chat. Bing, bada, boom. In case anybody cares or wants to look or anything like that. All right, let's get over here. All right, there's a link for this site here. What do we got here? Move down. All right. That's from 4/20, 2022. So it's not even that old. It's over a year old. This article here. Anyway, this is what I have on the thumbnail here. Where is it? Right here. This is the article that we're reading. Owlcation. Anyway, I'm gonna read this because yes, I was that kid in class that laughed when they said this. All the kids laughed mostly. It says some of the weird. I just read this. This is why I laughed. It says some of the weirdest gods were Greek. Actually, that is, well, they all had weird gods. Actually, there's always a few. Some of the weirdest gods were Greek. Here, Cronus mutilates his father, Uranus. Right here. There it is. That's what you're looking at. I got a Purina ad here right in my way. Oh, here, close. I didn't. They hid the option over on the left bottom. Like, who looks there? Anyway, so here it says. All right. It says some of the weirdest gods were Greek. Here, Cronus, it's the one standing, mutilates his father, Uranus. This is Uranus. Oh, man. Anyway, it shouldn't mutilate Uranus. You know what I mean? It's always trouble. All right. Some deities. You know what? I just thought of a joke. Should I say it? I just came up with a joke. He could say his dad's a real a-hole. My dad's such an a-hole, I had to kill him, mutilate him. What's your dad's name? Uranus. Let's keep going. Some deities are stranger than others. The myths and legends promoted by the world's religions provide a welcome infusion of imagination into our collective psyche. From Egypt to the Caribbean, however you want to say it, strange gods and goddesses embody many of our deepest desires, taboos, and obscenities. Actually, this is true because, I mean, not that it's any of our deepest anything, but I will say that some of these gods are really weird as far as obscenities, taboos, forbidden stuff. Between all the sexual ecstasy, incest, murder, transformation, and cannibalism, like I said, the gods aren't just like weird in a funny way. The gods are actually like a creepy weird. We simply cannot hide our fascination with the weird and eccentric lives of these infamous deities. All right, gotta add up there. Now, here is you know what? We might have even gone over a couple of these because we went over the 10 Greek gods, no, the 10 Olympian gods. We went over the Greek gods, Roman, Egyptian gods. I can't remember what else. But anyway, I think we covered almost all the gods. And I'm pretty sure we might have done Loki. But anyway, so some of these might be familiar, some of these might be familiar because we have just gone over the gods in the last 3 months, maybe. Anyway. Hope you can see that. Oops. All right, it says Loki gave birth to an 8-legged spider horse after copulating with a stallion. All right, 8-legged spider horse, of course. Of course, it's an 8-legged spider horse. All right. Loki, Scandinavia. I'll try to get this bigger if you can see it. Oh well. I'll read it. You probably can't see it. It's probably not big enough for the screen. Loki, Scandinavian. Loki is a malevolent Nordic god that can transform into people and animals to enact his pernicious schemes. Loki's weirdest moment occurred when he made a bet with a giant that he had been employed to build a protective wall for the gods. The giant was offered the goddess Freya as a reward if he could complete the wall in time. However, the giant used a stallion who hauled the bricks much faster than Loki expected. Faced with losing the bet and being killed by his fellow gods for giving up Freya, Loki transformed himself into a mare and wooed the giant's stallion. That's one way. All right. This is control here. I finished the rest of that story there. Can't get to the head squirting one yet. The ensuing act of love led Loki giving birth to an 8-legged spider horse for whatever reason. With the stallion occupied by Loki, the giant lost the bet and was killed by Thor. That's a pretty good story. Next up, we have this god here, and this is this one's kind of funny actually. I'm showing some girl ads. This must be a guy's visited channel, I guess. All right. Let's see that. They fit the whole thing in there. Chinema. Hard to fit it all in there. Chinema. Or Chinemas. Oh, Chimanasta. Yeah, I can't fit the whole thing in there if I blow it up. Here, let me see if I can get a little shorter. That might be better. All right, this is kind of a weird god. I already know about this one. You guys see the... I was just looking at the necklace with all the heads on it. Anyway, all right, this is called Chinnamasta or Chinnamasta. Chinnamasta and her 2 attendants. There you go. Chinnama and her 2 attendants drink the blood that spurts out of her severed neck. Now, she cut her own head off. Let me see. I don't know if you can see that. So she cut her own head off, and so 3, and then she carries it around, by the way. And she's got 3. There you can see it better now. And she's got 3 spurts of blood coming out in different directions, and then like everybody drinks the blood, like including her. Look at the necklace. It's got a, is that an owl or falcon or something on her shoulder? Look at there, her necklace full of little shrunken heads. They all have necklaces with shrunken heads. Well, she's got a cobra Kai. I think that's a cobra. It's cobras or birds? Hard to tell. It looks like a cobra. It's got a tongue sticking out. That looks like a cobra. Anyway, I'm not sure what's going on down there. It's got like 2 faces. Anyway, so let's figure out who Chinnamasta is. There you go. So yeah, they drink the blood. Those are, by the way, here. Oops. Those are her 2 attendants. So those are her 2 like attendants, assistants or whatever. They drink the blood. So Chinnamasta. Chinnamasta, northern India, Nepal, as you can tell. This Hindu and Buddhist goddess is self-sacrifice and sexual restraint, cut off her own head and enjoys parading around with it, while 3 spouts or spurts of blood flow from her open neck. As if it couldn't get any weirder, her severed head, and 2 of her attendants drink this burning blood. It's not weird at all, is it? Chinnamasta literally means she whose head is severed. Oh, that's what her name means. Chinnamasta literally means she whose head is severed. As if you need to point that out. And there are several myths regarding how this decapitation occurred. One legend claims that a number of Hindu gods and demons churned the ocean to extract an immortality elixir. Chinnamasta is said to have drank the demons' share of the spoils before decapitating herself to prevent them from reclaiming it. Oops. Went wrong way. All right. Another myth states that Chinnamasta. We gotta watch out for this next picture. That's Pan, the goat god. You know what he does. Another myth states that Chinnamasta and her attendants were bathing for too long, leading to their extreme hunger. Like any merciful goddess, she satisfied their appetite by decapitating herself and allowing them to drink her blood. That's not really eating. Not really a meal, you know what I mean? I mean, they were bathing, so why don't they just drink the bathwater? Anyway, now, next one, I got to be careful because you know that picture of Pan, the goat god, where he's enjoying the company of a goat? Yeah, I can't really show that on here. Zoinks. We're going to get past that part. All right. Pan. Pan is depicted here copulating with the goat. That's right. I'm not sure how YouTube feels if I showed that, so I'm not going to show it. Next, Pan. And that's Greece. Actually, I'm pretty sure we covered Pan. Did we cover Pan? We must have. There's so many I lost track. Pan, number 3, is from Greece. Pan is the hind legs and horns. Pan has the hind legs and horns of a goat and is one of the oldest Greek deities. He is the god of shepherds, flocks, hunters, forests, and pastoral music. However, he is also a fertility symbol with a ravenous sexual appetite. Indeed, one legend claims that Pan was born out of a union between Odysseus' lovely wife and her 108 suitors. 108, dating 108 guys, I guess. Accordingly, Pan would attempt to copulate with anything that moved, including goddesses, nymphs, women, men, and even animals. Pan attempted to seduce the nymph Syrinx and pursued her when she ran away. When Syrinx's sisters turned her into a reed, the love-struck Pan created the pan flute from her remains. You know how he plays a flute. Yeah, I suppose that it's probably a shin bone or something. But he created the pan flute from her remains. Echo, another nymph, also refused Pan, prompting the angry god to order his minions to kill her. You hate when that happens? Oh, that's okay. Let's see. That's not really. Our favorite sex pest was rejected again when the nymph Pitys fled his lecherous advances. To help her escape him, the other gods turned her into a pine tree. Even more bizarre, though befitting a fertility symbol, yes, the phallic symbol, was Pan's ability to duplicate himself into a swarm of pans. These recreations were various I'm sorry, these recreations were variations on the original theme with goat-like attributes and lustful urges. Pan is also one of the few gods that have actually died, although it is unclear of how this occurred. You know what's really weird and creepy? Um, you know how this thing, Pan, will have sex with anything? Anything? Remember who kept calling themselves Pan? Michael Jackson. I'm Pan. Remember? I'm Pan. Remember he kept calling himself Pan? Everybody said, oh, he means Peter Pan. No, he doesn't mean Peter Pan. No, he means this Pan. Always called himself Pan. And he never once said Peter. Well, that's kind of weird too, Peter Pan. Next. Inanna. Inanna? Not sure. Inanna tends to kill or sacrifice most of her lovers. So you might not want to get engaged to her. Yeah, interesting. All right. Anna, Ishtar, Mesopotamia. You know, this is interesting too because Ishtar, the goddess of fertility, remember? Ishtar, where you get Easter from. Ishtar, Easter. The fertility goddess, and that's why on Easter you have rabbits. A rabbit is a symbol of fertility, and that's why the rabbit has eggs, because rabbits don't lay eggs. But somehow you got eggs, and the egg is a symbol of fertility for women. And then they used to mock fertilize them with red blood. They would like blood fertilize the eggs. So the painting of the eggs is fertilizing the eggs, and then over time they turned to different colors and stuff. But it used to be red. It would symbolize, they used to put red paint on the eggs, symbolizing fertilizing the eggs. Anyway, that's all Ishtar. Your Easter celebration is celebrating this one right here, Ishtar. This has nothing to do with Jesus or Christianity, although they made it that. But this is what it really is about. Ishtar, goddess of fertility. And look at it, goes all the way back to Mesopotamia. Wow. Mm-hmm. All right, Inanna, Ishtar. I didn't know her name was Inanna. I know Ishtar has different name. Inanna is the ancient Sumerian goddess of sex, war, and fertility, and she's known for her capricious and prolific sexual desires and unions. She later became known as Ishtar and is associated with lions and the planet Venus. Inna was once raped by a lowly gardener called Shukalatuda while she slept under his poplar tree. In a fit of rage, she turned the rivers to blood, covered the earth with storms, and tormented the people with disease. She eventually found her attacker and killed him. Well, there you go. Inna has a tendency to kill or sacrifice her lovers. Ah, I see. It's deep-rooted, ain't it? In the Epic of Gilgamesh, she tried to seduce King Gilgamesh. Huh. He refused because he knew about the face of Inanna's past lovers. As I said, she comes to try to seduce you, guys. I would do what what's his name? The King of Gilgamesh. Be like him. He refused because he knew about the face of her Inanna's past lovers, including the speckled Alulu bird. You can see that. Whose wing she broke. The lion who she dug a pit for. The horse who she consigned to being whipped and lashed. The shepherd who she turned into a wolf. the gardener, who she turned into a dwarf. After this rejection, Inanna released the bull of heaven in an attempt to kill Gilgamesh, but Gilgamesh killed the bull instead. Bam. When Inanna traveled to the underworld for the bull of heaven's funeral, well, they have funerals in the underworld. That's interesting. The underworld's ruler, Ereshkigal, made her pass through 7 gates. At each gate, she was told to remove a piece of clothing or jewelry. It sounds like Hugh Hefner's Playboy Mansion. All right, at each gate, she was told to remove a piece of clothing or jewelry. This continued until she was naked and powerless. In a moment of poor judgment, the audacious Inanna sat on Ereshkigal's throne, for which she was punished by being turned into a corpse and hung upside down from hooks. You hate when that happens. Stock picks. Why they keep putting ads up there like that? Goodness, the ads are out of control here. Stuff, it's just weird. Anyway, many of the gods blamed Inanna for her fate. But Enki decided to rescue her. As no one could leave the underworld, a deal was struck to make someone take her place. Inanna refused to sacrifice one of her servants, but she had no problem with Ereshkigal taking her husband, Dumuzi, who she thought hadn't mourned her enough. The poor Dumuzi was dragged into the underworld by demons, and Inanna then had the audacity to mourn him. I've seen stories like that on Dateline. Oh, come on, man. All right. Cronus. And this is one of the Greek gods. In fact, we did go over Cronus. Like I said, they're all kind of weird. But anyway, so you might remember, if this one's familiar, where he eats children. Here, Cronus is depicted devouring one of his many children. These are his own children, by the way. They're just not random kids. They're his own kids. Yeah. Not that eating random kids would be good either, but just, anyway. Cronus, Greece. Cronus was the leader of the Titans, a pantheon of Greek gods that came before Zeus. The god Uranus and goddess Gaia were the parents of the Titans, and Cronus was their jealous and preeminent son. All right. When Uranus hid some of Gaia's children in a deep abyss called Tartarus, Gaia asked her remaining children to castrate Uranus. The psychotic Cronus stepped up to perform the deed. That was the cover on there. He scythed off his father's genitals and threw them into the sea, where they bubbled up and spawned the goddess Aphrodite. Oh, that's how she came around, huh? Did you guys know that? That's how Aphrodite came about. After freeing Gaia's children, which included the Cyclopses, Cronus decided to re-imprison them, claim Uranus's throne, and marry his own sister, Rhea. Gaia then predicted that one of Cronus's children would overthrow him. It's like a prophecy. As a paranoid lunatic, Cronus decided to eat his children as they were born to prevent this from transpiring. However, Rhea and Gaia hid baby Zeus, giving Cronus a rock wrapped in baby clothes to eat instead. The unhinged cannibal ate the rock, and Zeus grew up to fulfill the prophecy. Cronus was thrown into Tartarus. although he may have been released to rule over a distant land. Indeed, the Romans later adopted him as the god Saturn. That was Cronus. Cronus, Saturn, the one that eats his kids. Next, this is a weird one, you guys. I already know this one. This is Sheila Na Gigs. Sheila Na Gigs. This is Sheila. Sheila tried to seduce men by exposing herself to them. If they accepted, she would transform into a beautiful woman. It's kind of like the kiss that the prince kisses. No, wait. Yeah, if you kiss, the princess kisses the frog turns into a prince. This is kind of opposite. If you kiss her, she promises she'll turn into something pretty. Oh, she said she'll turn into. If you kiss her, she promises she'll turn into a beautiful woman. There you go. And no, she's not holding a bowl. We'll get into that in a second. Sheila Na Gigs. Now, Sheila Na Gigs, the British Isles. Yes, the Brits have weird gods too. Sheila Na Gigs literally means old hag of beasts. Anyway, that's a good, funny name, Sheila Na Gigs. You could call somebody Sheila Na Gigs and they won't know what you're talking about. But it literally means old hag of beasts. If there's any women that you don't like, just call them Sheila Na Gigs. You'll never know. It literally means old hag of the beast. The name refers to a number of stone figurines from Ireland and Britain that depict a woman with an exposed and exaggerated vulva. Yes, that's what that was. All right. Won't scroll. There it was. All right. Popular myths claim she was a lustful pagan goddess who threw herself at men by showing them her lady parts. Most men rejected the old hag. When one occasionally accepted, however, Sheila transformed into a beautiful woman and granted kingship to the lucky man. Sheila Na Gigs is also known as a fertility goddess, and her figurines have been used at weddings and births. You ever seen one of those things at weddings or births? Yeah. One theory attributes her to the pagan practice of anacerma, in which women lifted up their skirts to scare off evil spirits. This suggests that Sheila was a protector against evil. Now, here we got a new one. What is this? Isis. Dun, dun, dun. Hang on a second. Isis. What's Isis? Those big giant people in orange jumpsuits? Oh no, they took the people in the orange jumpsuit. Something. Anyway, Isis recreated the body. Wait a second. By the way. Oh, look at. Yeah, because she's anyway. There's the Egyptian Ankh in her. Do you see that? In her hand, left hand is the Egyptian Ankh. Ankh. I got you guys. Isis recreated the body of her slain brother / husband, because she married a brother, Osiris, and used a golden phallus in place of his lost genitals. Yes. So that's why you see the phallic symbols all over the world. Rome, Washington, D.C., all over the place. That represents his phallic symbol. Isis. And this is from Egypt. We covered some of these. The Egyptian goddess of nature, motherhood, and magic married her brother Osiris, who was lord of the underworld. Osiris warred with her other brother Set, leading to Osiris being killed and 14 pieces of his body being scattered across Egypt. The grief-stricken Isis scoured the country to retrieve the pieces, but there was one piece she couldn't find. Yep. Apparently Osiris's reproductive organs had been swallowed by a fish. Ah, don't you hate when that happens? All right. Oops. Isis used her magic to rebuild Osiris's body. In place of his genitals, she used a golden phallus. Isis imbued Osiris with temporary life and copulated with his gold-augmented corpse. Osiris died again soon after, and the necrophile goddess gave birth to Horus. Isis had to protect Horus from Set until he was old enough to claim power by defeating his uncle. Indeed, his name Isis means throne, making her a symbol of the pharaoh's power. See that? Isis means throne. Next we have Baron Samedi. That is weird. Donald Trump's son's name is Baron. Baron. Anyway, this is Baron. Meet Baron. Did you see how tall his son got during his pregnancy? He went from, like, I don't know, waist high to over taller than everybody. Anyway, like in 4 years. Baron Samedi. That is weird looking. And guess what he is? You chip off the old block. This is probably why Trump named him Baron. Baron Samedi's favorite pastimes include drinking, smoking, swearing, and chasing women. Like I said, chip off the old block. Baron Samedi, Haiti. And by the way, I'm not political. I've never voted in my life. I care zero about politics. I don't care about Trump, Biden, anything. I don't participate in no politics. Zero. Don't care nothing about it. All right. That's a disclaimer. I don't identify as anything, any party of anything. Baron Samedi is from Haiti. Baron Samedi is a voodoo god of the dead who is generally associated with obscenity, chaos, debauchery, and intoxication. Perhaps the weirdest thing about this god is his appearance. He is a reanimated skeleton who wears sunglasses, a top hat, and a tuxedo. Samedi also sports cotton nasal plugs, much like a corpse prepared for burial. Oh, let's see. Yeah, it keeps your face from collapsing. Oh, yeah. And they put stuff in the eyes, too. You know what? I worked in a doctor's office for 20 years. Across the street was a funeral home. It was a church, and then next to that was a funeral home. And the doctor's office I worked in had a residency program. And the medical director set up this big tour across the street for the students, medical students, anybody that wanted to could go see what they did to a dead body, like how they embalmed it and all that stuff. And you should go. So anyway, and then me and my friend, I was in the nursing and the X-ray and lab and stuff, and my friend worked up at the front desk. She was the receptionist. And anyway, at lunchtime, we heard the boss was really angry because none of the residents wanted to go to that tour across the street. So we said, well, and they had a time that they had the people over there waiting to do the tour and nobody's showing up. And we said, we'll go. So me and my friend Shannon, we went over to the tour because nobody went. So anyway, she said, yeah, somebody needs to go over there. They're waiting to give it to her. So me and my friend Shannon went over there, and it was really weird. Like, you funeral home, you see the coffin and all that stuff. You pick out the coffin, but you go down the basement. That was where the weird stuff was. There was a table with like a lavatory, like a mosaic tile floor with a drain, and there was a table and it tilts, and they told how they drain the body out with blood. They don't do that now. They don't. They used to just flush the blood down the drain and stuff, but they haven't been done that for decades now because it was, hazardous or whatever. So anyway, now they do other stuff. Now it's all done out at the morgue. They don't do that anymore in the funeral home. It's hazardous waste. So anyway, they showed us how they put stuff in the eyes. They showed us how they put makeup on them. They showed like if there was damage to the face or something, they're going to see how they put putty on it and then sprayed it with spray paint. Anyway, it's really kind of interesting. I'm glad I went. All right. Baron. So anyway, Smeedy also sports cotton nasal plugs, much like a corpse prepared for burial. Yeah, I seen all that, how they did that. It's weird. Baron Smeedy's job is to greet the dead when they die before leading them to the underworld. He also digs their graves. Oh, that's nice. And ensures their corpses rot in the ground to prevent them from returning as zombies. In his spare time, Smeedy loves drinking rum, smoking cigars, chasing women, and swearing profusely. However, he is also a cure of disease and protector of health. Protector from death, as he can only decide when a person crosses into the afterlife. So, this is what you want. That's what you want. You want somebody who loves drinking rum, smoking cigars, chasing women, and swearing profusely. You want him deciding when you die. It's up to him when you die. Oh, man. Dionysus. We gotta... I gotta cover that up a little bit. Dionysus, you guys know this one, the god of wine. Ruh-roh. Dionysus' cult of female followers tore his dissenters into pieces. As a naked picture of him. Actually, there's two naked people. All right, Dionysus. Greece. Dionysus is the Greek god of wine. We went over Dionysus we went over the Greek gods. Dionysus is the Greek god of wine, intoxication, chaos, and ritual frenzy. With a resume like that, he was always going to be a bit weird. This androgynous god began life as a premature baby when his human mother died after gazing upon the glory of his father Zeus. Dionysus was unable to survive on his own, so Zeus sewed him into his thigh until he was able to be reborn. You guys remember that story? He's Dionysus. Zeus is the big one. Until he's able to, and then until he's born again. And then he got born again. All right. Myths tell us that Dionysus was brought up as a girl to hide him from Zeus's wife, Hera. He became bisexual. He became a bisexual god, and his rituals involved transvestism and the blurring of the sexual roles. Interesting. When discovered by Hera, he was driven mad and forced to wander the earth. During this time, he was kidnapped by sailors. Dionysus turned them into dolphins and turned their oars into snakes. Oops. Oars into snakes. Where are they? There. Turn their oars into snakes. Yeah, you can't do that with that. A young Dionysus was also lured into a cave by Titans, older gods, who proceeded to slit his throat, boil and roast his flesh, and eat him for dinner. Attracted by the sweet smell, Zeus arrived, resurrected his son, and killed the Titans. Oops. This thing doesn't want to scroll very nicely. Dionysus also had his resurrection power, which he used to restore his mother. Further power was his ability to induce mass hysteria and madness. This led to a number of his dissenters being torn to pieces by his cult of female followers. Mimicking his own death, cannibalism followed. When Dionysus was helped by King Midas, he gave Midas the power to turn objects into gold. However, that's what they call the Midas touch. Turns everything to gold. That's where that comes from. However, when King Lycurgus offended him, Dionysus convinced Lycurgus that his son was a patch of ivy that needed to be pruned. Lycurgus obliged, killing his son by cutting off his nose, his ears, his fingers, and his toes. Dionysus then told the population that their famine would end only when Lycurgus was dead. So the people tore the king to pieces. And the last one we have tonight is, yeah, Abrahamic God. Actually, you'd have to break that down. You'd have to break it down into the Yahweh, the J source, the priestly source, the Deuteronomy source. But anyway, the Abrahamic God told his follower Abraham to sacrifice his son in test of loyalty. When he was about to do so, God said something along the lines of, just kidding. All right. 10, the Abrahamic God, Israel. Isn't that strange? He's on the top 10 list. Despite the many weird stories that appear in the Bible, the Christian, Abrahamic God is widely worshipped. In one story, God is busy destroying the city of Sodom with fire and brimstone. He instructs his Jewish followers to flee the carnage, but specifically tells them not to cast their eyes upon his shameful annihilation of the heretics. Unfortunately, the wife of Lot is unable to resist this temptation. She turns to witness the destruction and is transformed in a pillar of salt. God knows why, literally. Another bewildering, you know how the saying goes, God knows why. Well, literally. Another bewildering story is that Abraham and his son Isaac. God dares Abraham to demonstrate his faith by sacrificing his son. That unerringly devoted Abe places Isaac on an altar and is about to slit his throat when God relents, claiming it was all a test. One has to wonder how Isaac felt about all this. Yeah, poor kid. Finally, there's a notion of God being three entities in one of these being Jesus, who was created when God impregnated the Virgin Mary with himself. Jesus was born into the world, espoused his own magnificence for a few decades, was summarily executed by the Romans, and then resurrected himself to show that he was not really dead. It does sound like a Greek mythology, doesn't it? As it turned out, the Christian God wanted to be executed, so the act of self-sacrifice could somehow overturn the sins of all humankind, even though in the Gospels he's begging not to die. Remember that? The weirdest gods make for the best stories. Imagination of our ancestors in creating these myths and legends has allowed many to ponder the titillated and be titillated by the darker side of human nature by attributing to the gods. Outside the sanctified stories, this freedom of thought is too often suppressed by the teachings of many of today's religions. Yeah, especially if you're a Christian, you'll be told never to read anything except the New Testament. Don't check into other gods or Greek gods or old mystery religions. Of course, the choices for this list or matter of opinion. While it includes many weird and wonderful gods and goddesses, the terrestrial pantheon really is an undying source of comedy. And that is it. Yeah, the comments are always funny to read. All right. Get off of here before one of them pictures shows up. They're kind of X-rated for YouTube. Where's my chat? There it is. All right. All right. All right. We're look at that. Exactly 1 hour, 1 minute. All right. So I'm going to wrap it up and say goodnight. Like I said, weekends are kind of slow. So tomorrow I'm probably not going to do too much. Probably just a little open chat. And then Monday we'll get back to the repeat stories, doublets, whatever you want to call it. Stories repeated in the Bible. Well, we're doing the Torah, the first 5 books. So. Anyway, all right. Well, thanks for listening. If you're listening on the replay, thanks for listening on the replay. I hope you all have a good rest of the weekend. Or if you're listening on some other day, I got hiccups now. Yeah. So whenever you're listening, I hope you're having an awesome day. And also, have a restful night for anybody that's listening tonight. And hope to see you tomorrow. Anyway, thanks for coming in. There we go. That's out of the holder there. All right, everybody. Good night. Thanks for coming in. And God bless everybody.